Thank you so much for having me read tonight to you. I'm going to be reading a selection of poems and poets from the Globe Tapes, Tongue in Your Ear and the Love Lines. Let's get started. But in lieu of a poem from David Mitchell, here's just a little bit of a reading to set the scene. It's from this book. Unlike the collectively run readings of the Sydney Poets Union in Balmain, which Mitchell attended in the late 1970s, and which probably inspired Poetry Live, the Globe was a one-man organisation. Mitchell opened up and hung the Dean Buchanan portrait of Rimbaud, or Phil Claremont, The Holy Family, or Pat Hanley in abstract, backdrop, before which everyone read. He placed the newspaper advertisements, walked the suburbs, and put up the posters. It was he who selected and paid the guest poet $30, the pen minimum. Most evenings began with recordings of classical music. Vivaldi was a favourite, and musicians, including Mitchell's own, his teenage daughter Sarah, now a singer-songwriter and recording artist in Sydney. She regularly took the stage. Mitchell would make announcements: the first day of spring, Wilfred Owen's birthday, International Women's Day. He would vary the program. For instance, staging a Lorca evening with readings in Spanish, with guitar from the works of Pablo Neruda and Victor Jara. On another occasion, he cancelled the poetry reading to show a film about the dwindling rainforests, which is very sad. I wasn't laughing at that. Usually he read last, sitting on a bar stool before a microphone with a stack of manuscript on a low table beside him. So recommended reading. Okay, let's get started. I'm just going to do it in order so I don't lose any of my bookmarks. But I'm going to show you this one first. Cool, eh? An original poster that had been from 1983 onwards. So I'm starting with Bob Orr, Child. In one hand she holds a cigarette, and the other a child's hand. But street lights drift through her eyes like absent tides. The gull that slept between her breasts make dark slits across the evening sky. She walks past yet another hamburger bar and sees the traffic of the harbour bridge like the one long, endless, falling star. She thinks, I'll go back to the schooner, Gleeson's, or the South Pacific. The child is looking at the water, as if for the first time she has seen it, and her blonde angel, her blue sailor man, on the after deck is standing. The wake scrawls his only letter: see you later, after Tokyo, after San Francisco and Jamaica. North Head sails slowly past his mind, Rangitoto like a dark broken dorsal fin. The wharf is a garden, a bright blue light, where a daughter grows on the edge of the sea. Next we're going to Sandra Bell, a friend of yours, Hayley, too. Hayley's filming this, Hayley Thayers. So here's a poem by Sandra Bell, The Woman in the Blue Dressing Gown. Through this sea of glass, the woman in the blue dressing gown waves a silent goodbye through sheets of rain. The woman in the blue dressing gown becomes more distant. I long to reach her, hug her, tell her something small but wonderful we did together. Once, the woman in the blue dressing gown is a dot on a green hill. The clouds race by. So that was from the Globe Tapes, Volume 1. Here comes the Globe Tapes, Volume 2, more bookmarks in this one. Starting with Mike Johnson. So Rosemary Menzies, Mike Johnson and Michael Morrissey were the editors of the Globe Tapes. Here's one from Mike. From Palanquin Ropes. I may mispronounce a few things from time to time, just please forgive me. Thanks. Okay. Sparrow of Ashes, Song of a Moonlit Tree. You might as well forget about enlightenment. The frog leaps but does not hit the pool. Whakatane air is filled with jasmine. In my eye a speck opened up a chasm. Before long I was coughing blood. Soon I'll be in the hands of Te Whero, blind, both arms tied. Her lips brush my cheek. I tell her I'm riding the west wind, no rain. By the end of the day, tension in the shoulders. By the end of a lifetime, a clogged up heart. Remember the time you felt so light you could jump the moon. And I'll leave it there with this poem. Only short poems today, folks. And here's Kim Blackburn. Lizards in Love. A long, cool lizard lying on a hot rock, down by the sleepy water, beside the deep lagoon. Lizards in love, underneath the low quiet trees, and amidst the dead and dry leaves. Lizards dreaming sweet, sweet dreams. Lizards in love. Yay! This one by Mark Richards, and it's number 7. Words, words, words. I'm sure we could have got along without them. My cat drowses through a sunny day, seduces, hunts at night. No thought about the names of things, no doubt about his way. The black-back couple on the beach below, the blackbird, I read it. The black-back couple on the beach below, the house perform their dance of love, can share, a fish head chase off an intruder. No self-questioning at one with sea and air. We've checked response between, below, above. Entanglements of reason bar a free exchange. Frontier posts which hold our love at meaning's length. Beside the bed I see a clock, no hands. I hear its ticking heart. Our pulse is one. Our words hold us apart. Right, and here's one, Rosemary Menzies. I've always loved this poem and used to often read it on our anniversary nights. There is a way of doing things. There is a way of doing things, like the unsandling of feet inside a holy place, or like the lowering of heads. There is a way of hearing things, like the steadiness of eye, unglazed to eye, or like the watching of the grass. There is a way of seeing things, like the unlearning of information on a printed page, or like the listening of tongues. There is a way of knowing things, like the penetration of your earth with mine, and silence inside the greatest silence of the world. Woo! Here we go to, Loris Edmund, yay. Love poem. Everything will happen. Your friend will go to Paris. My uncle give up at last his dreams of wild horses flying over the hills of his boyhood farm. That quaking marriage will break. We do not speak of ourselves, but as we walk down the stairs, snow falls, coming to lay soft stars on the dark tweed of our hearts. We brush away for each other the little messages of death. In the street there are 2 young men, exuberantly quarrelling. We pass slowly, close together, and carefully keeping in step. It is as though we have something very light and fragile to carry. And here's one from Sarah Barford. She used to spell her name with a C back then. Asking for a good life in Heliopolis. Excuse my mispronunciation, I can't even say that word. Delta, my hands. Let well-fortuned oceans meander now like across rails palms in Heliopolis. Unscrolled reticles of glistening sweat, as one damned that Ra may drink. Engrave my fingers. Let well-sensed perception seep through digits extended towards solar intensity, splayed parodies of ripe lotus blossoms. Furnish my mind, let well-weathered chemi, fertile silt soil created, and flows neath zenith skies, germed thoughts to nourish sifted reality. Delta, engrave, furnish me, I'm asking for for a good life. And I'm going to finish the globe readings with John Poulet. Spring Night. To hear her body bloom like blossoms and lay spread out upon the new spring, undress the close of petals and kiss her voluptuous lips into the evening, struggle to reach the summit of her breast and curl like a hungry fox beside her. The moon I saw gathered at the stars at rest, which fell one by one like thunder, to support her seductive body with hand trembling and see the cove of her land stretched out like a vast painted field. Lust unclothed the desire to yield and dive into the fresh sea of her eye like a dolphin leading ships under the sky. There we go. That's the globe tapes for now. Actually, just to finish things off, me and Miriam Bai are going to be doing a series soon with readings and using the tapes as well. So just watch this space. It's going to be awesome. Okay? Choice. Hi, I'm back again. This little segment is reading from Livelines Volume 3. My other volumes are all packed away, so we've got this to go with, okay? We're going to start with Anna Kay. Darkest before the dawn. I've cursed the night before, I'll admit it, even though the light would hold no treasure without its contrast. Maybe the dawn is approaching after the switching hour is over. Maybe this tin woman will have more than fragments of the heart, bleeding from the widowhood, crushed in the waiting, cut to the quick by a witch breathing whispers the lies of betrayal. Maybe after iniquity is vanished, after these masks have finally dissipated, I will only have eyes for my lover. And now here's one from Daniel Larson. Conspiracy theory. We magnify our problems like insects. Hive-minded, we hold them close to the lens scientific gaze before we burn them with the heat of the sun. So, the final solution? Weet-Bix kids are Adventist kids. God is fractured throughout everyone you meet. Method? Listen to Dub's Side of the Moon while watching Wizard of Oz on mute, second raw, and reading Alice's Adventures in Wonderland but slip in Jefferson Airplane's White Rabbit and the Matrix trilogy at just the right moment, and you'll see God. And don't forget the dark side of the moon and Lateraeus, and live on for at least 10,000 more days if it's due. Call it the Da Vinci Code. Mike Myers and Marky Mark claim one pull makes you larger and one pull makes you smaller. Hopefully though, Alex Gray was the thief in the night. But the sea gods reclaim the lost land. My baby aches for it, and orchid's perfume has the rotten sweetness of corruption. Here's one of Ela Selwyn. Shooting for the star after Paula Green's semi-blindness. Yellow sun, sun-kissed letters. Letters traced on my heart sliced in two halves. The two sides of myself. The self-centered sight of you. The you of me and me of you. The you I hold in my arms flinging wide in joy. The joy of running in waves, waves lapping on the beach, a beached whale stranded, strands of my wet hair, hair dripping wet and cold, cold taste of snow, snowdrops coming out in the sun, sunflowers, beautiful. And here we go, here's Kiri Piahana Wong, one of my MC mates in my era. The singing. He brought me a cup of water and said, "It's on me," with a cheeky smile that would have charmed the birds out of the trees. Except we were in Borders bookstore, so there weren't any birds, which just goes to show that in modern life, this saying needs updating, perhaps along the lines of, his smile would have charmed the pages out of books, the ice out of my over-iced coffee, the air I'm trying to breathe, the boyfriend whose name I can't remember, the winter out of this first day of spring, which brings me back to the birds. How when we woke up in my bed last week, while the grey light creeping in the window, The first thing I thought wasn't, who are you, or why did we do this, but all the birds are singing. And here's one from Makaurau. His poem was way too long on the globe tapes to have time for, so here's a short one of his. Weather, the weather. Thumbs of broken rain, dry wounds of sunlight. Isn't the way to start a poem in 2009? But Auckland weather moves me like no other. Black statement of shadow. Contour Machias. Whoops, winds. Whirlwind of pine needles, the sky a shriek of danger. Tiny tornadoes that wrench off roofs and drop them on crushed lawns. Rude, yet energetic, mindlessly changeable. Yeah. Here's a little one of Renee Liang's. Visas. You're so welcome, stranger. Welcome to clean, green New Zealand, our home. You're welcome, stranger. Welcome to clean, green New Zealand, our home. You're welcome, stranger, to clean, green New Zealand, our home. You're welcome, stranger, to clean New Zealand, our home. You're welcome, stranger, to clean our home. You're welcome to clean our home. You're to clean our home. You're to clean too. And I'm finishing off this volume with Sabrina Mook. Anniversary Sunday. Alone in town on Anniversary Sunday, it is so hot, no one around like a dreamscape. I can feel the sun on my arms, my legs. People turn the colour of their own sweat, and nothing dances in the empty street. So even though petrol's getting harder to come by, I say, let's bust this joint, and so we do. Heading out of town, 1B, highway of 1,000 turns. You lead us through back fields and campgrounds, up and down the coast, the theatre of all humanity, cooking and song, the sky touched my heart, and I could not turn my back on it. In small towns and big cities, heading past Ikoma, danced in Tokoroa, church in Hokitika, way down south through West Port Nelson, dig those Port Hills, man. Punakaiki, where the rocks rise from the sea. It was beautiful, man. Caravan of love, along the Whale Grain River, snow and the wind from the desert road. The sky changed above us, while our lives rolled out into each small town, until I stopped my breath and looked around. It was beautiful. Caravan of love, along the Whale Grain River. Okay, that's it for Lifelines, Volume 3. Hello, Segment 3, but it just feels like one long film for you. So I actually forgot Penny Somerville's poem from this because the bookmark had fallen out, and I cannot miss out this poem by our Penny. Dear Cliff Richards, I wonder, do you ever think about what you were singing? I chanced to listen to one of your songs. I was stretching at the Never Too Old at the Y. You were crooning. I even started to boogie. You crooned, I've got to live and breathe in, walking, talking, living doll. That's okay. Nothing wrong there, though the doll bit is a little dodgy. But you go on. I'm gonna lock her up in a trunk, so no big hunk can steal her away from me. Man, that is not good. Why, I ask, would you do that? Your baby's bottom smooth face, gleaming white teeth, so lovely. Of course, a living doll, what else would you want? But wait a minute, let's look a little closer. You're going to lock her up. You're not just going to lock her up, you're going to lock her up in a trunk. I repeat, man, that is not good. You do realise, don't you, what your living doll will be like after being locked in a trunk? She's going to be dead. And are you a necrophiliac or what? It all seems a bit queer to me. Did you want something to rhyme with hunk? Is that what you were thinking about? Monk, hunk, spunk, trunk. Does your spunk, hunk, confessional monk wear Speedo trunks? I wonder. And those spunk, hunk monks and their Speedo trunks, they are alive and sniffing around, aren't they? Yes. They're still there all right, aren't they? Living, breathing, walking and talking. Cliff, baby, I do think you should stop and think about what you're singing, don't you? Yours, etc., Penny Somervale. Right. Go Penny. So here we go to the last few poems. This is Judith McNeil from Livelines Volume 1, and Miriam has kindly just sent me these poems for us. It's called You, Paul McCartney. Were responsible for my dreams, all my loving. You sang it all without reservation. And you, God, were responsible for my actions. Feed the hungry, you said. So I fed them till I had nothing left. That was when I was a child. Now I'm growing up. I no longer listen to you, Paul, or to you, God. I will give my love, but only some of it, and I will feed the hungry occasionally. And here we go next to Christian Jensen, who was an MC as well, Livelines 2. I'd like to run, laugh, a little reason to repair what I have done to deserve, vision to see the riddle, and to touch with a tenderness and torsion ride. And life turns me, always haunts me, oh, on where dynamic walls might shift, all reaching out the fake. Oh, why can't you see that the costumes we wear are the symbols we carry, history into the groove of the masks, oh transient, can't you see? Bind my chaos and thin webs, oh, I would like to stay and laugh. Oh, those are concrete poems, are quite tricky to read. And here we go next to Miriam Barr. It's from Tongue in Your Ear. So that was before Livelines. Of all women, she is more than the sum of her parts, more than the years she has lived and those she has not. Herself isn't contained in the shape of her body, nor in the cosmetically modelled image. She is more than what she does, and more than what she refrains from doing. She is not solely for your eyes, not for your pleasure. She is not a stone for you to sculpt and remodel, not a pawn to be moved in your game. She does not need to meet your ideal. She is more than your ideal, with its narrow constraints, its harnesses and corsets, its restrictions and conditions. She is not your definition of a real woman, but she is real. She is more than your definition. She extends beyond girl, beyond motherhood, beyond career woman. She need not be preoccupied by your artificial rules. She will be the woman even when she breaks them. She will be woman when her hair is grey, when her skin wrinkles, and when her youth fades. She will be woman. And that's from her early days. So, we're going to finish with a poem from our very darling Michelle Bolton. And it's from Livelines 5, the perfect poem to finish with. Poetry Live, exclamation mark. Michelle reclaimed that mark for us. Okay, here we go. Poetry Live. It is this place that holds immutable magic for me. Its darkened celebration ignites campfire creations and breathes new life in me. It is this place that gives perpetual grounding to me. Its salted elevation fathers infant exaltations and opens new doors in me. From the handshake of frayed and delightful perceptions transported on a mic's rapturous crackle to the heartache of decayed and frightful inceptions exported to another captious battle, because here, in this place, the poetry keeps me safe, and my tiny courage can cultivate the warmth these walls boldly emulate, as bare taps and bare tops serve souls elixirs of magnitude. My soul sources non-stop escape routes from my solitude. So like diamonds, I don my gratitude for Poetry Live, my poet's birthplace, where poetry keeps us all safe.